Hello there, and welcome to the weekly Asylum and Immigration Reform Update, where I share with you 5 recent stories of interest to asylum seekers and those who want to stay current on immigration news. This week, we're discussing
Trump pledges mass deportations on the campaign trail. A court questions the legality of Biden's restrictive asylum rule. Apple settles for $25 million over citizenship-based hiring bias. A U.S. citizen's immigration confinement ends in a secret settlement. And Democrats introduce a bill to protect pregnant immigration detainees.
I'm Brian Manning, and I used to be an asylum officer with the government, but now, as an asylum lawyer, I help immigrants all over the country to secure their future in America through asylum. It's my pleasure to bring you asylum and immigration reform updates each week, right here on the Political Asylum Lawyers YouTube channel. Okay, let's get to the news. First up,
Donald Trump is going all in on anti-immigrant rhetoric. In a bold campaign promise, the former president vowed to invoke the Alien Enemies Act, a law from 1798, to detain and deport non-citizens over 14 years old who are suspected of gang or drug-related activities. This move, announced at a rally in Iowa, signals a drastic shift in his immigration policy, emphasizing executive power and law enforcement. He also intends to reinstate and broaden the travel ban from his first term, targeting individuals from Muslim-majority countries and expanding it to include communists and Marxists. Additionally, Trump proposes redeploying troops to the U.S.-Mexico border and reallocating major federal law enforcement agencies to focus on immigration. These declarations mark a significant escalation in Trump's immigration stance, gauged to appeal to his hard right supporters.
And next up, for update number 2.
In a pivotal legal showdown, the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals is questioning the viability of President Biden's asylum rule, sparking a debate over its exceptions. Doubts expressed in the litigation may indicate that the program won't withstand judicial scrutiny. Introduced as a measure to manage record-high migrant crossings, the rule faces scrutiny for potentially disqualifying legitimate asylum seekers. It stipulates that non-Mexican migrants are ineligible for asylum unless they schedule a border appointment or are denied protection in a transit country. A previous ruling struck down a similar Trump-era policy. The Trump rule barred asylum for those entering between ports of entry, violating the Immigration and Nationality Act. The Biden rule, despite having a set of exceptions for its ban on asylum, is criticized for limiting asylum access.
All right, time for our third immigration update.
In a landmark decision, tech titan Apple agrees to a $25 million settlement with the U.S. Department of Justice over employment discrimination claims. This settlement addresses allegations that Apple engaged in discriminatory hiring and recruitment practices based on citizenship. The government found Apple in violation of the Immigration and Nationality Act's anti-discrimination provision. Investigations revealed Apple favored temporary visa holders over U.S. applicants by not advertising jobs externally and requiring paper applications, a move that deterred U.S. citizens, nationals, lawful permanent residents, as well as asylum and refugee status holders. Apple must now pay civil penalties and back pay for those impacted by these practices. This settlement sends a clear message against creating barriers in employment based on citizenship status.
And moving right along, update number 4.
In a dramatic turn of events, a U.S. citizen's harrowing tale of solitary confinement in an immigration detention center ends in a hush-hush settlement. Carlos Murillo Vega, detained by immigration agency ICE despite being a U.S. citizen, reached a settlement with Management and Training Corp., the contractor operating the Imperial Regional Detention Facility in California. Vega's lawsuit, filed after his release, accused the company of misleading him into accepting solitary confinement under the guise of protective custody. He described spending up to 23 hours daily in isolation, deprived of basic amenities and social interaction. MTC denied these claims. Details of the settlement remain under wraps, leaving many questions unanswered. This case, shrouded in secrecy, raises critical concerns about the treatment of detainees in immigration custody.
And finally, our 5th immigration update for this week.
Democratic lawmakers have reintroduced a bill aiming to protect pregnant women in U.S. immigration detention. This pivotal legislation calls for the immediate release of pregnant non-citizens, except under extraordinary circumstances, and bans the use of physical restraints. It establishes a presumption of release for pregnant, lactating, or postpartum individuals awaiting deportation decisions. The bill permits detention only if the individual poses a serious, immediate threat, and emphasizes minimal use of restraints even in these rare cases. This initiative, driven by increasing detentions and reports of inhumane treatment of pregnant detainees, seeks to enforce more humane standards. It mandates new care guidelines and sets restrictions on deportation processes, focusing on ensuring dignity and access to adequate health care for pregnant detainees, regardless of their immigration status.
And that wraps up this week's immigration news. If you want to win asylum in the United States, then you should call my office today. That number is 713-352-1593. We help people all over the country, so it doesn't matter where you are. Call us now to schedule an asylum strategy session so that we can help you secure your future in America through asylum. Again, I'm Brian Manning, and it's an honor to serve you in your immigration journey.